Everybody be all right.
Yeah. Well, welcome to UBI. I don't even know what episode is this because it's been a while since we had one.
But y'all
So
be all right.
yeah, whatever. I somebody asked me the other day was like, "What happened to the podcast?" I was like, "Well, you know, um, we kind of like ended one season, another season is coming up."
We took a break. Yeah, yo. I mean, that's probably about right. my dad, my dad listened to an episode and he was like, "Oh, I heard like I don't know whatever the last episode was. It might have been 50." And he was telling me about it. I was like, "Dude, I don't remember any of that because that was
I don't
like,
think you were on it. Like,
oh, I wasn't. Wait, what was the last one?"
I don't remember which one it was, but
Well, I know I missed some. I missed like one or two, and then I think the last one was like in June or something
okay.
like that. And I was like, "Yeah, that happened like 3 or 4 months ago." He was like, "Oh,
Oh,
really?"
okay.
And
Okay,
I was like, he was
so
talking to
you
me like it happened like I was talking about stuff in my life at the time. I was like, "I don't, dude. I a lot's happened since then."
it's like I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah, but
it's
he'd be all right. But shout out to my dad who listens, and I'm sure he'll listen to this eventually.
I think the last one was, you know, we talked about avocados and black
Yes.
people owning slaves and things like that. So
And we talked about your YouTube channel, I
yeah,
think.
we talked about that
He
as
was
well.
he was like he was asking about that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I hope it's going well. I
Yeah,
haven't
I kind of took a break from that as well over the summer. Like I was just chilling over the summer, man. Like I didn't do much.
you're getting season two of what is your YouTube channel called again?
It's called lay down the law. So
Lay down the law. You got like what 50,000 views on something? You probably have more than that now.
I don't even know. Like, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna go hard. Like over the next I don't know couple of weeks slash months. But anyways, the reason why we call this um this podcast is because we had a sidebar conversation going on about what a genius the artist formerly known as Kanye West. It goes by what the fuck does it go by again these days? Yay.
He goes by Ye. It's funny when people are like, "I'm done with Ye." It's like, but you're still respecting the fact that he goes by Ye. So that means you're not. I call him Kanye West. I don't care.
Look,
He's
you should
Kanye.
you should respect people. Like if you're a grown ass person and you say, you know what, I want to be, I go by this now. You gotta respect people for what, which is why it's always crazy for me for conservatives that when they go around and telling people that have, that previously had a name and they
Mhm.
turn around and they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna call you that name because da 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 da." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, why does that even bother you?" So somebody used to be called X and now wants to be known as Y. Okay, move on from it. Like it doesn't do anything. Like, like if you call yourself like your name is Manny, if you come tomorrow and you say, "You know what, I want to now go by Alex," like why should
I mean, yeah, I guess, but I mean, Kanye be alright. But anyway, um, yeah,
yeah. So there's been a lot of, I guess you could call it controversy about the interview that came out.
I
So
didn't.
there were
I
actually two
must say,
parts.
I didn't see I saw, I guess maybe clips or read about it. I was just focused more on what he said on social media and um, his fashion show. But
Okay.
I didn't listen to the interview. But I'm sure it was insane.
So it's good that you actually said those things because there are a few layers to them. So the fashion show is one thing. Like the background to that is he and Candace Owens.
I
They
saw the
were
picture.
they were at some fashion show in Paris or something,
Yeah.
and he had um a white lives matter, like they had shirts on that had white lives matter on them,
Yeah.
right? And in the aftermath of that, they asked him, like, yay, what the hell is going on here? And I'm gonna try and share my screen here. um
Did Fox News ask him?
yeah, so this was This was Tucker Carlson. That which you first of all you probably wonder like, okay, Tucker, like first of all, why are you asking this guy this thing? Like, why is this even
I love it. He was
a
pretending
business of you? Yeah,
because he's trying to get on his own political agenda.
yeah.
And like he's like, oh, I think Kanye's conservative now. Now I'm a Kanye West fan.
Not just that, but let's listen to this first, and then we'll come back.
All right.
Let me know if you can hear it. Can you hear it?
I can't.
You can.
I can't hear it. I
You
see what it
cannot.
says.
Okay.
I would have guessed that's what Kanye said. Let's see. I still can't hear it. Huh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
But you can't hear. I can't hear the sound.
You cannot.
Yeah.
That, and what did it mean?
No.
You know, I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy.
Could you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Okay. So let me start that back again.
Yeah.
This is a disaster. All right, here we go.
The White Lives Matter T-shirt you brought out at Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, and what did it mean? You know, I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy. It just feels right. It's using a gut instinct, a connection with God, and just brilliance. You know, like as if you asked like Tanya Harding how she did the triple flip or the triple spin.
Okay.
His
So that
references
is,
are interesting.
just hold your thought.
Oh, sorry.
All right. All right, go ahead. So that's the first part. Okay, your thoughts about that.
So I mean, I never saw that, but I could have guessed that's what he was going to say about it. It's very Kanye-like to say his thought came from God and then make the most random reference that no one's thought about in 30 years. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Kanye, I mean, I guess I can just talk about the whole debacle. I think Kanye I think obviously he's doing this to get this reaction, right? Like, there's no way he's doing it. If everyone was just like, if he did that shirt, took that picture with Candace Owens, and everybody was just like, oh, cool, he would be upset, right? He would didn't do something even crazier. Next thing he would show up to a fashion show in a Klan suit and be like, someone please say something. I think he's purposely trying to provoke and just I'm not saying it's sophisticated what he's doing, but I'm just saying he wants to provoke like a very childlike, and he knows it's going to piss people off and it's going to make controversy. I would actually prefer it if he just did that and didn't say anything. I think the biggest problem is when he tries to defend it, he looks even dumber. If he just did it and didn't say anything, then people will get mad, but it's up to everyone's interpretation.
But this is you like thinking this guy is not dumb. Like you are coming from the assumption of that because you are one of those people that have drank the Kool-Aid of his genius, right?
No, I think he is dumb because he talks about it. Like it's clear he's dumb because he's opening his mouth. It's like, oh, this isn't smart. I'm saying in another world it would be better if he didn't say anything because then it could have been genius. But I don't think it's genius. I think it had a potential to just be something that provokes and is artistic and you don't say anything. But he didn't do that. And because he can't control himself and he has social media, and then you're like, this guy's just dumb. This guy's just.
I guess my point being, you're saying the fact that he has come out and explained what he's doing is what makes him dumb, not the act itself. So and I'm challenging that.
You're challenging the act, of course, because you're gonna get upset about that shirt and picture
No,
being his own.
I'm
But
actually not upset about it because I'm like, at this point, like Kanye is going to be Kanye, right? He's an idiot. So like that is just. I remember a couple of years ago, in the name of him being a genius at design as well, like at being a
Mhm.
designer, he do you remember when he had like some jacket with like Confederacy whatever on it, and he tried to like he had like a Confederacy patch. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was like a green jacket with a
Yeah,
yeah.
and so that was supposed to be part of whatever he was his
You
design
know,
and
he's not the first rapper to do that though.
right. But when he did that at the time, he had some nonsensical, some similar explanation for it as well. It's like, this is me being edgy, like this is my genius coming out. This is what he's saying here. This came to him from God, and this is him being it came, like he's a genius, is this person that is he does things that we don't understand. Like, that's basically what he's saying. Like,
Mhm.
we just don't understand the magnificence of his genius, essentially. Like that's why we are like, oh, you wrote "White Lives Matter" on a T-shirt, and people are kind of like saying, "Wait, what guy? Like, what are you doing here? You mean
Mhm.
to tell us that you don't know the implication of that? Like, what like
No,
when people
he does. He does know the implication of that.
so
That's
so
why he's doing it. Like he knows you're going to get on a podcast and talk about why he's an idiot. I'm not saying he's smart, but I'm saying like it's a childlike look. I'm going to burn this shit down and piss everybody off. It's not sophisticated, but there is. It's not like he doesn't understand that. It's not like he's like, oh, like liberals are going to be really happy about this. He
so
understands that he's provoking.
so it's funny you said that because I'm starting to question whether he understands that as well.
Why? How do
Because
you really you don't think he understands that that's going to provoke people?
no, so I guess I'm questioning. I'm just questioning him more holistically.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just questioning him more holistically. Like, okay, this is someone that is, I think, is certifiably out there that he has some mental issues, right?
Yeah, I think he's at least said he's bipolar.
Exactly, and he's out there saying and just doing things that are just, I don't know, that just seem so unhinged to me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, so this will be an example. Um, and this is part of, wholly part of the interview that he was doing as well.
This is on Fox News. Wait, hold on. I don't know if I can hear it. Can you hear me? Okay, I can see it. Can you hear
Okay.
me? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So
Every day we've been killing each other in the streets every day. One of the amazing things with Mayor Suarez is the murder rate has gone down. And yeah, I mean, you set that question up. You have more information about about what happened in the hospitals. So, in all honesty, I don't have the most facts, as many facts.
No, I mean in your life, like
So I might have
the
deflected.
COVID vaccine, the
okay. So
being
this
stuck
particular,
inside.
What is it?
Like, what did you think of all that?
I was vaccinated. It was interesting. A friend of mine told me that
so this is
You
this is
know.
interesting, right? So this is Tucker Carlson asking him about vaccination. I think they probably thought it wasn't vaccinated because he's this guy that's coming up with these conspiracy theories, and
Well, he's definitely yeah. He definitely seems like the type. But I do
yeah.
know I think I knew he was vaccinated though,
Oh,
because yeah, but yeah, but it could have gone either way. Right? There's not it could have definitely gone either way.
exactly. So that's that part. Like, I think so. Now the backdrop to these clips are when Tucker interview, like, released his interview. Like, he didn't talk about this ones.
Did he take that out?
He took this out. So
Okay.
this was and so So
Yeah,
that's
I mean, it's yeah. I got you. That's hilarious.
Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics with the KKK, to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the people known as the race Black really are. This is who our people are, the blood of Christ. This, as a Christian, is my belief. And I believe that if we saw ourselves as more
what guy?
This, most of his statements will probably justifiably end in a what guy. No, yeah, I mean, this is kind of like, remember he was on Joe Rogan? I mean,
That was crazy. Where he
yeah,
was
yeah.
talking
I
about
mean, I don't think this, so my point, so the reason I'm on is it's not to defend every and anything Kanye West has ever said or done.
well, to defend some of it.
But yeah, to defend, I think the blanket statement of this guy is just completely an idiot and kind of useless to American society is a little what's the word?
It's useless to American society. Let's face it. Like
No, he's not, and he hasn't been. But people are going to be. I understand the justifiable anger or disappointment or just eye rolling or just
for me,
blah
it's
blah blah. It's not
angry.
even anger. It might just be like, God, this guy. Why are we paying attention to this guy? Because you're paying attention to him. That's why he's making you pay attention to him. Like that's one thing. People are like, oh, I'm done with Kanye. Are you? Because you're talking about him.
But it's all in your face, right? You can't not talk about him. So sometimes I feel like that, the fact that you talk about something doesn't necessarily mean that you.
But it does. Like
no,
he's literally.
It doesn't.
People are talking about him like it's crazy. I was in a conversation last night, and there was a lawyer who's a sneakerhead, right? And he had on a 3-piece suit, and he had on Yeezys, and we people noticed or whatever, and then of course we start talking about Kanye and how people are like, oh, Kanye's crazy and all this and blah blah blah. But it's just like he's doing something. He's impacting people. The fact that even if we're sitting around saying, oh, this guy's an idiot or I don't know or blah blah blah, and we're discussing him, he's doing something. He's creating something. Now that whether you like it or not, that really doesn't matter. That's if anything, I think when you have someone who is as creative as Kanye, then he's going to evoke this type of reaction, and it's going to be disgust or annoyance or anger. He's going to evoke something, but everyone's still paying attention to Kanye.
Is the guy creative? What is this more than anything is just the fact that he's a famous person, and it's a famous person that have done things in the past that people like. So, and this is what happens when it doesn't matter whether you're a musician, you're an athlete, you're just a famous person that have done something in the past that that you were famous for, and people like what you do.
But here's the thing. Here's the difference though with Kanye though. People still like the shit he does. That's the thing. He still has that creative goodwill. I'm not saying, and it's not even the old stuff that he's done. I'm talking about like the new stuff he's pumping out. Like his last album was incredible, and then this
is what I'm telling you. If Snoop, for instance, was like this,
right,
where he made old music that people liked, and he's still making music that people like, or there are Jay-Z, Beyonce, like dropping whoever, whatever name you want in there, that have old music that people love, that and they still make it, and they say things like that. Like obviously, what he's saying doesn't. There's a point where it crosses to what you say or what you do, cross to a point where people are like, okay, you know what? Even though we may like what you say or or what you've done in the past, we're just gonna like, I guess for all intents and purposes, cancel you, for instance. Like
Yeah, but
an,
he's
an example would be R. Kelly, right? Like it's like, you know what, you made quote unquote good music, but you are such a despicable person for the things that you've done. I'm not
mhm.
even going to listen to your music anymore. So that is, or Bill Cosby, like, yes, you were a genius at what you did, or you were a pioneer, whatever you want to say, however you want to describe that. But you did these things that, no, I can't. I Now, would you do we still have people that are defending those guys? Absolutely. So that is the
But
fact.
then
The, fa-
yeah,
the fact that you have people that defend them and their work, and quite frankly, I don't begrudge anybody that kind of like is able to compartmentalize people's
yeah.
work.
I mean, with those people, I don't defend Bill Cosby as a person. Do I still occasionally watch the Cosby Show? Yeah, but like,
Exactly.
I mean, he as a comedian, he was a fucking genius. He's also a monster, like as a person. But yeah, like people. And the thing with R. Kelly, I honestly think if R. Kelly's music was better, you'd have more people listening to his music. I just never even liked his music. He's also a piece of shit. So it's like that just gave me another reason to be like, oh, fuck this guy. But
Yeah. So,
if he had a
let me,
body of work that was better, I swear more people would be listening to his stuff.
yeah, I mean, I guess my point is R. Kelly, some people liked the kind of music that he did, right? Even though
Yeah.
it given people the creepy vibes for the longest time.
Oh, he's such a fucking well first I mean I've always thought his
Maybe
music
a
was
better
so
example. Maybe a better example is Michael Jackson.
yeah, he's the best he's
He's the
probably
best.
the best example.
Yeah, he's the best example because this is someone that, if you talk about genius in music, that's why when people talk about this guy being a genius, I'm like, look, fine, you can use whatever adjective to describe him. At the very least, Kanye is very good at what he does, right? Like his
Right.
music is just at the very least very good. Genius, like I'm reserving that for people like Michael Jackson, like people that are generational. Like Kanye West is not generational, in my view. Now it could
Mhm.
be that he is in your view, or
In
for
a
many
lot of people's view.
in a lot of people's view, this is all subjective anyway. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. But one thing that we can all agree on is he is good at what he does. Okay, now putting that aside, if you look at Michael Jackson and just what he stood for, and the kind of stuff that he did with music, and then what he was accused of,
Mhm.
even though you could understand why people are like, man, I don't like. I mean, a lot of people were able to say, he wasn't convicted of anything, so therefore, you know, technically wasn't convicted. So it is what it is. We can have these double standards for different people. Okay,
Mhm.
fine. But then you could also, even if he was quote unquote convicted, right, of something,
Right. Yeah.
you could understand people that are like, you know what, I'm separating the music, which is a body of art
Yeah.
in its own, from the person. The person might be, or maybe a despicable person, but when
Mhm.
I listen to the music, it does this to me. It gives me joy. It gives me happiness. It makes me remember when I was younger or
Yeah.
whatever. So I can't begrudge anyone for feeling that. With Kanye, the most interesting thing about him, he has bought into his body Kool-Aid. Everybody calling him a genius. He's not injecting that right into what he says. Because I can imagine that many people that are true geniuses go around and say, and talk like that.
No, I know. No, I don't think he's a I agree. I don't think he's a genius in the sense that like I don't think he's an into like I guess a genius is inherently intellectual. Not necessarily. You could be when I use the term genius, it's more in the colloquial sense. I don't think his IQ is like 200 or something.
So, and I think this is what people mistake as well. The fact that you've made a lot of money from something, or the fact that maybe marketing has helped you, or you came at the right time. And I mean, doesn't mean that you are inherently better than a lot of people that didn't become as successful as you. Like, if you think about rappers, I think even hip hop in general, you will find many people that will say, you know what, um this rapper is better than Jay-Z or that rapper is better than.
Yeah.
But in terms of just commercial success, Jay-Z, no, nobody will say Jay-Z is not good because there is a minimum threshold that you have to clear, right?
Right.
So, and then there is a lot of intangibles, charisma, just maybe luck, collaborations that you make, just a lot of other things. Another from a music perspective or from an artistic perspective, someone that I actually think of as a genius is someone like Jamie Foxx. Like if you put Jamie Foxx and Kanye, I'm like Jamie Foxx is the obvious genius because of just is he as rich as Kanye? No. Like maybe will never be as rich. He's successful in his own right. But
Yeah.
can you imagine if Jamie is not even as successful as he is, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jamie Foxx is an incredible talent. And I think he's incredibly he's so talented. I used to hate on Jamie Foxx just for no reason. Like he's just someone I was like, fuck Jamie Foxx. And then like I saw Ray because I felt like Jamie Foxx, like this guy thinks he's great, and it annoyed me. But then I saw Ray and I was like, damn, like he's so good in Ray. Like and he's very funny. Like he's a comic. Like a comic is like the fifth thing he does, and he's also good at that. Like he's also incredible. You forget because it's like he doesn't even. That's like his fifth title.
Exactly.
So, but but like I think Kanye, and I mean genius is it's sure I don't know that the true definition of a genius. I know they've said that there are several different types of intelligence. I know that theory has been out there where it's like you're a physical genius or whatever, you might be musical genius or you're good with your hands type genius or whatever. But like I think very specific and narrowly, Kanye West is, and I'm going to use this, I guess this word is being used colloquially, but like he's a genius when it comes to being innovative, having his pulse on the culture. He has single-handedly, and again, this is subjective, but a lot of people agree with me. When you talk about pop culture, Kanye West has like single-handedly shifted pop culture several times, which is like a mark of
Give me an example of a shift.
So the first shift was when he started doing the soul sample sound. And he started doing that with the Blueprint on Jay-Z's album. But then when he went into the College Dropout, he basically changed like hip hop culture once. That was the first time he changed it, where he started wearing the pink polos, the whole sound of hip hop changed. Nobody believed in his and no one believed in like his style, his album, what he was trying to say, the type of music he was trying to do. And then he said, no, I'm telling you, this is a next sound. This is a next wave. And everyone was like, nah, we're still, wearing baggy clothes. And this is the type of music people want to hear. He's like, no, I'm telling you, but the reason people were pushing back on it was because it was different. It didn't sound like what you were currently hearing on the radio. And then he put it out and everyone wanted that. Like he literally, it's almost like he just had a sense of like, this is where the culture this is the next step. And I think when you talk about like artists and being creative, that is I mean, and I'm using genius colloquially. I could even say he's better at it than most. And most people don't change the culture. Most people just follow the culture. So that was that with College Dropout. And then he had that sound for a little bit. Then with 808s and Heartbreaks, he completely changed how people rap when it comes to singing and rapping and like the music. I didn't even like it. I hated that album, by the way. I'm not even saying it's a good album. But then 808s and Heartbreaks shifted how not only hip hop but pop was done, where it was like basically if it wasn't for 808s and Heartbreak, there would be no Drake. And again, like I'm not even saying I love everything Drake does, but Drake is undeniably one of the most successful artists since Michael Jackson.
Okay,
it's just record numbers, and then he did it. I would argue he probably did it again with Yeezus, another album that I hated, but now appreciate years later. When you're talking about like artistically, and it's not just hip hop. It became pop culture, and that's why I think he's a one in a generational talent when it comes to music. And then with fashion, I have never even bought his clothes or his shoes, but I can't. I definitely can't deny the impact that they've had on culture. I mean, people are wearing these things. I've seen everyone wear them. I mean, it's wild. I mean, it blows my mind. He can get people to wear what look like laundry baskets on their feet. But you see people wearing them. It's like and he said he was going to do it. And I remember at the time I was like, oh, you're an idiot. And you're crazy. But here he is 10 years later. Now he's a billionaire based off of what he's created with the Yeezy brand. So again, I think very narrowly when it comes to creating and being creative, I think he's, and I'm using the term kind of colloquially, but he's a genius, but it's narrow. Everything else, I'm not saying he's smart, but I also think if you took a lot of people who are just artistic and just focused on that, they wouldn't be particularly sophisticated on anything. I mean, he might be even less sophisticated than your average, but like if you fucking interviewed Basquiat on some shit, who knows what the fuck he would say. He didn't have social media, or maybe even necessarily the personality to say all this crazy shit that Kanye's saying. But I do think like if he were to just shut the fuck up and he just focused on creating things, no one would have any problem with him. But the problem is social media and celebrity and people. He can't shut the fuck up, and everyone's gonna be like, he can say whatever he wants. And everyone will see it. That's not good. That's why I said with the White Lives Matter thing, if he just came on social media and said White Lives Matter, like what the fuck? But if he does that at a fashion show and doesn't say anything, I think in another time with another artist, if they just said something or wrote something, like if Basquiat was in this time and just wrote that and didn't say anything, people were like, oh, like what does that mean? Like, and it all depends. It's all context, right? When Kanye does it. But if someone else does it, it's like, and that person might already have goodwill. People might be like, oh, well, what does that mean? Like, like, is that like a statement of blah, 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 and la, la, la? Like, I don't know. But anyway, I say all that to say, I'm here to defend Kanye's very, very, very narrow genius. But outside of that, he shouldn't be talking about global affairs and politics. But I do think when he does stuff like the White Lives Matter, it's childlike. And obviously, White Lives Matter was co-opted by the KKK or whatever. The KKK, they're a fucking joke, but they're just a bunch of idiots at this point. But yeah, they co-opted that, but then Kanye co-opted it again. He could have just had it as this means something else.
Okay, that
was a long rant.
Yeah, I mean that is you should call your black ass and have you represent him.
Sorry, I came to I wasn't gonna have you and Io just here fucking because I know that's the easy thing to do. Oh, fuck Kanye, he's dumb, he's stupid, blah blah blah.
I guess I was just gonna say on that though, we'll move on to the next thing that he said. I know you said all these things. Again, here we go.
Exactly what our culture is based on. Think about us judging each other on how white we could talk or be like, a Jewish person judging another Jewish person on how good they danced or something. I mean, that's probably like a bad example. People are going to get mad at that shit. But another thing that they do that I probably want to edit that out. Everybody not like that. Okay, so, I was talking to Ice Cube today. And we got really beat up.
Way to throw Ice Cube under the bus.
For saying we need to approach things a different way and not just be trauma drunk, right? Which is a term that God just hit me with in the past couple of days.
I mean, look, yo, just leave Kanye. Look, Kanye, don't interview him.
God just hit you with the phrase trauma drunk in the last couple of days. Okay, Kanye.
Okay, but let me. He probably won't explain it.
We're no longer trauma drunk. We're no longer trauma drunk, and we're no longer trauma bonding, and we're no longer woke in the sense of what woke is, because woke is just complaining about racism, but not doing anything about it. So what we're going to do about it is say, hey, you know what? Y'all not going to send nobody at me based on my opinion. You asked the question before. It drove me crazy to not be able to say that I like Trump.
Okay, so the guy, I mean, what he's saying there, right, is basically he wants to be able to do whatever he wants, be able to say whatever he wants without criticism. He couldn't say that he liked Trump and people kind of like not like him for that, or say, I mean, you know, or say, I don't know, or call him an idiot for liking Trump or whatnot. Like I've listened to so much of his, like, you know, I've listened to a lot of his whatever that over the last couple of days that I'm kind of like I'm even more, as I'm listening to this again, I'm kind of I'm a little more I'm even more apathetic to this. Like I'm just kind of like, you know what, this is a total waste of time. Again, you were saying earlier that people are talking about it. The thing is, one, there are different ways to talk about this kind of thing. One, like now I feel really bad for him. I feel sad. Like if this were someone I knew, like a brother or something, like this is him just disintegrating right in front of everyone. Like he complained. You know, when you were saying earlier that people didn't believe him in terms of the design stuff that he was trying to do, or he was trying to be a designer and whatnot. He went on and on about how France and all of that stuff was racist to him because it's a black man, and you know, all the design houses. He went on and on about that, and now he's denying that racism exists.
I don't know if he's denying racism exists.
Okay, so what is he saying about it? Like, it only exists when it has something to do with me, when people criticize me, but when other people are saying it,
I don't know. That sounds like a
okay. So what is he saying about it?
Talking point. I don't know, dude. Like, did he say that? Because he said what he said was he doesn't like when people are trauma drunk. And when they're
that was exactly what it was. It did though. Like he went on and on and on about how the.
Are you talking about right now, or are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about before he got his own break. I mean, this was a popular guy.
Oh yeah. No, when he was talking about the fashion industry was racist. But I'm saying right now, I don't know if he's saying racism doesn't. He didn't say it doesn't exist. Unless I missed something. Are you talking about what he just said? Because he said
that is the implication of what he's saying. That, you know.
No, I think he was saying that he
doesn't no longer
yelling about racism and then not doing anything about it.
Yeah, and what is he doing about it?
I mean, I don't know. But
he's saying people are talking about, but that was exactly what he did. That's what I'm saying. That was exactly what he did. He wanted something. He bitched and cried about it, about how people were racist to him, and He did that for a long time.
Right.
And then he's now saying that people are saying there is racism out there. I mean, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
that's one thing. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I was biting my tongue on my political opinion because I thought it would be better for my children. And now you look up, and my kids are going to a school that teaches Black kids a complicated Kwanzaa. I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah than Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering.
What guy?
Kwanzaa doesn't, so they don't teach even Christmas itself, Christ Mass.
What?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch that.
What?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah. At least it will come.
I think what he's trying
with some financial engineering.
Kwanzaa. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he's teaching Black kids a complicated Kwanzaa. I don't know what that even means. But Kwanzaa's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm not touching the financial engineering of Hanukkah. That just sounds pretty anti-Semitic.
It sounds pretty. It sounds pretty anti-Semitic.
I don't know what that was, but yeah, I mean, he's not complicated. He doesn't read. Like, he doesn't read, so he's not going to be complicated with any of these thoughts. And I don't take any of them, but I do think, like, dude is okay. Fine, if you have a conversation with him, he's not going to be particularly sophisticated. I think he's just good at understanding culture and feeling and putting it in his art. I think a lot of artists are like that. I don't think artists are particularly, just because you're an artist doesn't mean you're smart on, politics or history or anything like that. I think there's a lot of people like that. The problem is we give Kanye a serious platform that he doesn't deserve, just because of the nature of it's 2022. So people have social media. There's a celebrity component where we worship celebrities. So he can post anything on Instagram and get 7 million likes.
I mean, don't tell Kanye about that.
He can post a screenshot and people are like, he'll get 20 million or whatever million likes. But yeah, I mean, he's not particularly complicated. But again, I still think to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and I don't think that's going to happen.
What does that even mean? Like, throw the baby. Nobody's throwing anything out with any bathwater.
No, but people are like, I'm done with Ye. No, you're not. Like, no, you're not. No one's done with Ye. That's not a thing. I promise you.
But being done with Ye can be many things.
You can just be done with listening to, like, you don't have to ever listen to him talk about anything like this ever again and just listen to his music or wear his sneakers or whatever. I guess, but that's not really done with him because you're still supporting the artist.
Like, what does that even? What I'm saying is this: like, I feel like people sometimes. Like, I think people like you that are like this Ye, you've bought into calling him Ye, first of all, whatever.
No, I didn't. I called him Kanye. You're like, you should respect his name. Like, all right, dude, relax. We get it. You're liberal. Relax. You should respect his name because
you people act like,
oh my God.
Like there is anything an average person that moderately or reasonably uses the internet can do to insulate themselves from seeing certain things. Like, this is the world as it is. Mm-hmm. If Kanye West says something, regardless of whether I want to see it or not, I'm going to see it just as a reasonably informed human being. So it's not like I can block that, like, for better or for worse. It's kind of like with Trump as well. Mm-hmm. There are so many things I don't want to see because I'm just tired of this guy, but there is nothing I can do about it. Like, yes, what you can do over time is to maybe work on how it affects you or how you can just ignore it, which is what a lot of people got good at. Like with Kanye, that's why I told you, like with me, I wanted to talk about it, but just because, first of all, we got to have content for the podcast. But in terms of just the visceral reaction that I will have over that I had, for instance, when he did the Confederacy stuff, like, I'm like, this guy is just an idiot. Like, if I hadn't seen it, like, it doesn't take that much of a mental space in my brain. Yeah, like, it's not, and that was what happened with Trump as well for me over time. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, you've accepted that you're always going to see nonsensical tweets or whatnot, but over time, it stopped becoming this thing that is triggering, maybe to use that word. Okay, so this is the last one that I will play. Okay.
I'll talk to him if I see him. Yeah. But I guarantee you he see me. And I have visions that God gives me just over and over on community building and how to build these free energy, fully kinetic energy communities where we put the least impression on the earth. We're not building the new New York skyline cockfight, that we are humble in the way that we present ourselves. We've got to rethink who we are as a species.
So my first thought of Kanye is he's just so incredibly contradictory. You know, he'll say one thing and then do another thing all the time. And I think that's what's so annoying or frustrating or hilarious about this dude. But I also think that that's probably like a little like I think using being like that as a person isn't good, but like being like that as an artist is incredibly helpful. And I think that's why he's probably very, very good as an artist and then not good at being a guy. Does that make sense? He's so incredibly contradictory. Humans are contradictory, and like understanding that and putting that in music and art is what makes music and art good because it makes it truthful and relatable. Um, and I think that's why people connected to him initially was that he had this like I'm socially conscious, I'm also very braggadocious at the same time. He was bringing two worlds together in a way that they haven't been brought together before. Literally, it sounds so simplistic now, but back then, college dropout and late registration were actually very, very innovative and new. Like 20 years ago, it's ridiculous sounding now, but before it's like saying, but like you listen to hip hop when it first came out in like the early, you know, it's late 70s, early 80s. It sounds so simplistic and ridiculous, but people forget like that was so innovative to even think of an art form like that. But now it sounds so simplistic and it sounds like nursery rhymes to a beat. But it was way more impactful. It was incredibly impactful and a building block to a lot of shit. So that's my thoughts on Ye. But he's very contradictory. Like even the fashion thing, you know, he'll talk about racism, he'll cry about racism, and then say, I think all we do is just cry about racism, you know, 10 years later. So I get that. But that's how people are so fucking fickle and contradictory. It doesn't make it right, but it does make it true.
Anyway, you know, in the prior interview, he had also talked about Lizzo. I don't know if you saw the thing about Lizzo playing James Madison's flute.
I did see that. I didn't see him talk about it, but I know what you're talking about.
And people went berserk over it.
What did he say?
He talked about her weight. And I'm just like, I'm just tired of these assholes, man, just talking about Lizzo. Like, just leave her alone.
Yeah.
Like leave her alone. And the only reason is because she played the flute. Like a flute that nobody has ever heard of before. Like she made that flute more popular than anybody could have.
I'm wondering, how did she get the flute in the first place?
She was invited to play by you know the
some
US
like
body that
and they gave her the flute was part of the thing. Like
yeah,
do like other famous people play the flute? Like is it
no,
something?
I think she's the first person to have played it, at least publicly.
Oh wow. I mean, great. That's great. I mean, it's like good for her. But again, she's also a celebrity. She also feeds off of this shit. Like she needs it for her brand. Like she needs this shit to happen so she can be like, man, fuck these haters. Always keep my name out your motherfucking mouth. Like this is all part of this is part of her brand.
I mean, but the idea that it was very predictable.
What he said.
No, not just what he said. The kinds of people that came after her, like right wingers, that they were saying things like she dirtied, you know, she desecrated the flute.
Wow.
You know, using words like that, she made it.
I mean, that's dirty. Ridiculous. That was
the crowd. That was so like these were like right wingers talking about this.
Because yeah, I mean that's ridiculous, and those people are dumb. It doesn't. I just don't understand how you could literally get angry about that Lizzo played James Madison's flute. Like, was no one ever supposed to play the flute? Like, what's the argument? What are you angry? I don't even understand that one. No, I got to be honest. That was something I saw, and I was like, I don't even understand that.
She is not in the class of people that should be playing James Madison's flute. James Madison is a quote unquote fan. Are you kidding me? Like, we don't know why people are angry about. I think that's a black woman. Like, if this was Dolly Parton or some other person that played, nobody would be angry about it. Or if this were, I don't know,
the Beatles. I don't know who the fuck like Paul McCartney. I don't know. I mean,
It's because
Yeah.
it's Lizzo. Like that, and because
That is hilarious. That's the funniest thing, that she played the flute and it's pissing people off. I love that because the symbolism behind that is hilarious. Like this whatever Lizzo represents, her playing James Madison's flute is the funniest thing, and people getting mad at that. You've got this like, yeah, and if you have people who like really, respect America and the founding fathers and very conservative white people, and then you have Lizzo and all that she represents, which is just very progressive, young, modern, black, fat, like all these things that just for pissing conservatives off. And she's playing the flute. That's a hilarious image. And yeah, so they be but
I mean, Kanye in that context, he was saying something along the lines of, they, whoever they are glorifying Lizzo because they are pro genocide for black people. Like they're glorifying her being overweight, and that I'm like, leave her alone. Like, just like,
I did hear that. I actually read that. Yeah. So,
you just brought her out of nowhere. It's like, just leave her alone.
Yeah.
But, like,
yeah. Did you see Ari Spears talking about Lizzo?
No, what?
He's a comedian, and he was talking about how he started. Someone asked him about her music, and then he started talking about how she's fat and like all this stuff, and everyone was like, "Dude, you're the last person to be calling anyone fat with your fat, ugly ass." And he's fat and ugly, and he said he was like, "I'm at least handsome." It was the craziest thing I ever seen in my life. I was like, "Dude." Everyone was like, "Look, we shouldn't be making fun of anyone because they're fat, but let's like," and then people were talking about, but like, let's look in the mirror, dude. Like, you and Ari Spears, I don't know. He's just very insecure. Anyone who cares, what he was saying is like, this dude's just insecure as fuck, and he's punching down, so to speak, on Lizzo or whatever. And Lizzo was just like, keep my name out your fucking mouth and all this stuff and whatever. But Geneva went to a Lizzo concert recently, and part of her concert, she said it was pretty empowering. She said she wasn't even expecting that. She's not like a huge Lizzo fan. And neither am I, like musically, but she said it was very empowering, and she would say shit like, "Yo, like don't let anybody," like that's part of her thing is like, "Yo, fuck these haters, like I'm gonna be me," and all that. I don't know, like, but Geneva's like, it's actually pretty good. So I don't know. I mean, she uses that as fuel, I think, and
I mean, which you should, like, you should use whatever, especially like anyone should be able to access whatever works for them. Like because to some degree, people are attacking her for who she is. Like they're not even attacking people. They're not even really saying like her music is not good. Like even if you say her music is not good, like who cares? That's your opinion. All that matters is she has her own fans. She has people that like her stuff. So you don't have to like it. So like you like Kanye.
Yeah, and I don't care for Lizzo's music or whatever that much. I mean, it's okay, but
like I don't even know her music. Like I don't like if you played something, I wouldn't. Maybe there are some popular music out there that I would hear and be like, oh, okay.
She's not for me. Lizzo, the songwriter, even Lizzo's personality, it's not for me. But it's for some people, and it keeps people happy and inspired, and good for them. And she's an important member of pop culture. And nowadays, it's super subjective. Look, I like Kanye's music a lot. I like, I respect his body of work, all that stuff. You might not, plenty of people might not, plenty of people do. Nowadays, there's so many ways to get your music and stuff out there. You can have like really a hardcore fan base and nobody even knows, like plenty of people have no idea who you even are. I mean, Kanye came up before that was really possible because everybody knows who Kanye is. But like nowadays, it's like it's easy to just have your fans, whoever likes you, and then everyone else either doesn't know who you are or doesn't like your shit, and that's fine. And Lizzo, she's part of that. Like there are people who Lizzo really affects. For me, I'm like, nah, I'm not really that. Her music bi, like I think she's kind of annoying, but people like her, and that's cool. And I'm glad she played the flute. I like when she does stuff like that. I think that's hilarious that it's pissing old white conservatives off. But is it really? Who is it actually? I know they say that on Fox News, but do you really think people actually give a shit? Like day-to-day people actually care?
They didn't until she played it. Like, first of all, they didn't even know that it existed. Like I
Yeah,
think
but I'm
I
asking, like, do you think people, like, even the people who watch Fox News, do you like they might like? Do you think they care longer than a minute in real
no,
life?
I think they're gonna forget. Like, but it is it feeds into the pattern and outrage culture that they're already part of, right? Like they
Yeah,
just feed off of that. Like, so they need something else to tell, because the way they're framing it is she is this person, this dirty woman.
dirty
How
white
dare she?
woman.
Yeah, how dare she's how like that has no respect for the founding fathers, that kind of thing. That how dare she? So that is kind of like how they are framing it.
Yeah,
So, and if you have these jingoistic people, right? Rah, 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 that's what they've been told. They
right.
Now, I'm pretty sure there is, even in the group of the kind of folks that will listen to that stuff, there's a bunch of them that's probably like, do I care about this? Like, I don't give a fuck about if somebody playing the flute. Like, okay, it's James Madison's flute. Maybe the one thing you're thinking of is, ooh, it's a 200-year-old flute. Like, you know, should we even be playing it at all? You know
That
what I
was
mean?
I mean, that was my thought, and just like, yeah, isn't it dirty? But like, also, isn't it? I'd be afraid to break it. I
So
like for
that's
me,
the
I would be scared to touch it. But
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So, but I think it's made off of like crystal or
oh geez,
something. So
yeah,
it's not. So it's not something that is that delicate, if you will. So at least that is my sense.
yeah,
Or I guess what I just thought of was, well, if she played it, the professionals must have determined that it's safe to play.
yeah.
So
No, I
so
feel you.
so that was the only question that I had. Like, okay, you playing the flute, like that I had in my mind, but it wasn't even like a question really. It was just a thought.
Right. Yeah.
Like, because for me, I don't care. Like, if the flute gets broken, for instance, if it breaks, I still don't care.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. But if it broke, I mean, they would people. Then I think the conservatives would actually like shit their pants.
They don't care. They didn't know the flute existed.
Well, I'm saying if she played it and it
I
broke,
know. I'm saying, I'm even challenging that in the end.
I would actually kind of be like, damn, why'd you break the flute? So
I
I
mean, but if
think
it
a
was
conservative
accidental,
would.
if it was accidental, like,
But
right,
that's what they would have been like. See, you can't trust black women's slippery ass fingers. That's what they they got too much cocoa butter on their hands, and that's why too much chicken grease on their hand. But I don't. I think that would be a huge. That would just divide the nation. If Lizzo broke James Madison's flute, oh my God, the war between left and the right over that would be some crazy shit. Like,
again, yeah, I think it will be a big deal in the right wing echo chamber, but like the leftists wouldn't even talk much about it. Like there are so many things on that end that just goes. For instance, like the QAnon stuff, like QAnon and all of that.
mhm,
That left wingers don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, I've seen things like gymetria. I'm like, what are you talking about?
damn,
Like, you have all these theories and all this stuff. I'm like, nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. So,
yeah,
but it is a thing on that side, like, So I think it's going to be a thing on that side that they're going to talk about. But
yeah.
in the grand
I
scheme
think
of
so.
things, nobody cares about it.
That's hilarious. Well, I actually have to run because I gotta catch a flight. But I'm glad I'm glad we discussed this. I hope other people enjoy this. I definitely enjoyed this conversation. And we'll have to do it more frequently. And the next talk about what else is going on. But I enjoy talking about Kanye because he's insane and he's crazy, and I've had several opinions on him throughout the years. And he's like I don't know, you can't look away for some reason, but yeah, this was cool.
Yeah, well, we've come to the end of the show, and until next time, you be aight.
Yeah, all right, I gotta run, but this was